18 is when you become a man, right? It's when you get freedom, responsibility, maturity. It's supposed to be one of the best years of your life. Well, for me, it wasn't. For me, it was the worst. It was the worst year of my entire life. It was the peak of my drug addiction. I had been partying, going out for a while. Eventually, at 17, I started doing drugs. And at 18, it peaked. I had left school, and it just got worse and worse and worse, because also I was so depressed. This was when I started burning myself on my legs, on my hand, to try and cope. I just hated every single second. I was very rarely happy unless I was high. On top of this, I had no purpose, no goal, no direction. So I felt lost, I felt alone, I felt broken. I felt lied to be honest. Not only by society, but by myself. I was convinced, 18 would be the turning point, that my life would start going my way. Before I was locked in school, doing stuff I didn't really want to do. 18 is when life really begins. And I'd really convinced myself that by 18, I was going to be successful, I was going to be rich, I was going to be super jacked, which I wasn't. I thought everything was going to be great, and then when 18 hit, it was like a smack in the face. I was still not where I wanted to be, and I was massively unhappy, and it really got to me, so I couldn't handle it. And because of that, I went straight into drugs, doing nearly anything I could. I've done things like Butane, Xanax, Coke, things I said I would never do, because I was just so lost, just so broken, that I had enough and I couldn't handle it, and I was young and stupid. So I went to what was right there in front of me, and it was drugs, it was alcohol, it was escaping. See, even though this was the most painful year of my life, it was the most important, because I was so low, because I hit rock bottom. I had to change, I had to grow. The pain, it woke me up to what I was doing when I was just going out on the weekend, having fun, doing a little here and there, mildly sad, mildly depressed. I wasn't going to change. The pain wasn't enough. I had to be literally on fire. My heart, my soul had to be on fire for me to realize that I was going in a direction that I didn't want to go. So if you're here, if you're 17, 18, 19, around that age, and you're depressed, you're lonely, you're addicted, you're suffering bad, wishing life was different, praying for motivation to change, then be grateful, because the motivation is here. That pain is the motivation. We're all used to thinking motivation is this confident swagger. Woo, yeah, I'm confident, I'm motivated, doing whatever, but it's not. It's not like that at all. Most of the time that comes afterwards. The real motivation is that pain, that fire under your ass, that stick hitting you in the back, telling you move, move, move. Because of course, if you're happy, why would you want to do anything more? It's when you're suffering, when there's no way out, that you have to move forward, that you have to grow. Yet some people still don't listen to this. Maybe I'm just weak, but I couldn't handle it. I couldn't suffer like that, so I had to change. I don't get how people can be in that state for years and years and years and not try everything in their power to change, because without it, if I didn't have that goal to be better, to be happier, and I wasn't working towards it, I would have killed myself. That was the light at the end of the tunnel, which we all need. When people say, oh, I don't really have any goals, I don't really know what I want out of life, it doesn't have to be so specific, like I want to be a doctor with a Lamborghini and a Rolex. Well, you don't have to be super specific, just a vague goal, like I want to be happy, or I want to enjoy my life, I want to appreciate my life, I want to be rich, I want to be able to travel. Like, it could be very vague, and it will be when you're young, but you need to lean into those things, because they are what keeps us going. They're the reason we get sober. If I didn't want to have a good life, if I had none of that, if I was just dead inside, didn't have any drive, any goals, do you think I would have moved? Do you think I would have grown out of that horrible position I was in? No. The reason I did was because I had these grand visions in my head. And there's nothing wrong with that. You need to just lean into them. Visualize it, focus on it. Say, no way, I deserve to be better. I deserve to feel more happy. I deserve to be at peace in my heart. And if you think about it, if you're going through it now at a young age, it's one of the best things that can happen to you, because some people it takes years, some people their whole lives. This happens when they're 40, 50, 60, when they have less energy, less time to fix themselves, to achieve their goals. So you're lucky. If this has happened to you now, if you're thinking that this normal life of just working, slaving away during the week, partying, escaping your life on the weekend, or maybe every day like I was doing, if you're finally saying, no, this isn't it, this isn't what I want to do, then you're the lucky one, because some people maybe never see that. Some people go their whole lives and they never see it. They never get a chance to achieve their dreams, to have something purposeful in their lives, because they're just numbing themselves constantly. This is why going out partying, even if it is a little, is so destructive, because you're numbing that true self, that real drive inside, your real mission. It clouds your mind. You feel lost, you feel broken, you're confused. This is why most people don't know what they want. They just like, wherever happens, happens, because those vices are clouding their mind, they're clouding their judgment. You will not know what you really want until you get rid of all vices. And then the depression, the sadness, this horrible dark period is there to help you. It is a notification for self-preservation from God, from the universe. You're living wrong. You have been for however long, maybe a very, very long time. And God's noticed. The universe has noticed and said, no, you're worth more. You can be better. This is why you're depressed. This is why it feels so bad when you take those massive back steps. Maybe it's watching porn. Maybe it's going out and drinking, smoking weed, doing harder drugs. So you know that you're ready to drop it. You know when you're ready to grow, when those hangovers become so fucking strong, those come downs become so strong and you can't handle it. At the end, those come downs, those hangovers were happening that same night. I felt horrible that same night after the night was over, going home. Felt horrible. I remember one of the last few times I drunk. I was planning on stopping drinking, and this time I said I wasn't going to drink, but this really, really solidified it. I was going to a festival, Fila Dance Night it's called, and the last minute I was like, when I was walking towards it, like, fuck it, I'm going to enjoy myself, I'm going to drink. It's just drink, you know. I'd stopped smoking weed and doing the other drugs, so a wee drink is fine. And I remember I was so depressed afterward, just in such a dark place, just wanting to die. When I was waiting on my lift home, and I was thinking, never again, never again. And I only did it one time after that, and since then I've been sober for over 2 years now. I was 19 then, 21, nearly 22. In August, it'll be 3 years sober, and it's flown by. I'm so glad that I done it, because I know it seems like when you're in that dark place that nothing's gonna work. Sometimes you feel like there's something wrong with your brain, maybe you're being punished, but there is a way out. It is not a permanent state. You know, everything in the universe is constantly moving, constantly changing, and so are your emotions. If those emotions are stuck, it's because you're not doing anything to change. You need to drop the bad habits and focus on good ones. Things like exercise, which saved my life countless of times because it makes you feel so good. Meditation, which helps you see past those dark thoughts, those dark feelings, to be able to sit with them and know that that's not you. You're the observer behind it all. Breathwork as well, which I've started recently doing, is the same as meditation. It gets you out of the mind to that true self, the soul that you really are. And reading, I always thought I didn't like to read, but when I was in this time when I was so depressed, so bored, that's when I found reading. In fact, that's when I seen how good all these things were, because we don't appreciate the small things, the gifts in life, when we're constantly stimulating ourselves with games and porn and drugs. Of course, there's normal things, they're not going to feel as good, but eventually when you fry your brain so fucking much that they too become shit and depressing, that is when you see what you really should be doing, what you really should be spending your time on: exercise, meditating, reading, journaling, going out, walking, socializing, without getting fucked up, without having to escape, really, truly connecting with your friends and doing healthy things. This is the way forward. This is the way to live a good life. Remember, you're better than that bag. You're better than that ball.